This episode of the WP Minute is brought to you by OmniSend. Do you sell stuff online? Then you need to meet OmniSend, the powerful yet refreshingly intuitive email and SMS tool that helps you make $73 for every dollar spent. OmniSend is that good and effective. You probably know the struggles of investing in digital ads with no guarantee it'll bring money back into your pocket. Use OmniSend and you won't have to find creative ways to make your audience notice you. You just talk straight to them. Use OmniSend pop-ups to build a contact list, then send campaigns directly to people who already want to hear from you. Automate everything with OmniSend. Just set it up once, sit back, and watch those sales roll in. If this sounds too good to be true, check it out at omnisend.com. Visit omnisend.com. Tell them thanks for sponsoring the WP Minute. Matt Cromwell, welcome to the WP Minute.
Hey, thanks for having me.
I forgot to say 9,999th Matt.
It's so old hat at this point.
You know what the great thing is, though? I'm going to are you going to PressConf?
I am. I wasn't
thinking
I would, but I'm going. I'm going to see you there.
I can't wait to see you. And
yeah.
I think that's where this whole thing started. This whole, like, you're the 18th Matt, I'm the third Matt kind of thing.
It could have been one of those, or Orange County or something like. Actually, I don't know.
I've never been to Orange County. Never stepped foot in it. No.
Yeah,
San Diego, like that whole San Diego region, a lot of folks from around my area transplant to. Is San Go, Orange County roughly in the same? Is that all the same?
No, it's all Southern California, but yeah. All the smart folks go there, right? Yes,
it is like 50. No, I shouldn't even say that. It's 43 degrees today. And I'm like, when is there ever going to be 4 seasons like folks promise in New England? Anyway, great to have you back on the show. We're here to talk about some stuff that Stellar has launched, is launching, has launched. Set the stage for us. What is the new product and how can folks find it?
Yeah, we are on the verge, as of right now, April 16th, of launching our biggest product as a brand, which is StellarSites. And it's a big deal for us because it does change the narrative quite a bit in terms of StellarWP is now a go-to-market brand, whereas before a lot of folks thought of us as an umbrella brand for a lot of different various products. But it's coming together in a really great way. We're really excited about what it is and what it does. And it's something that we put a lot of heart and soul into. So,
how does this go beyond the hosting with, let's say, Kadence pre-installed? How does it go beyond this kind of offering?
Yeah. So I think one way to navigate that question a little bit is like, you could think of like a WP Engine and Kinsta. They're like, host all your WordPress stuff with us kind of thing. Or you could think about Elementor that does hosted Elementor, right? We could have done like Kadence sites or whatever, but Stellar as a whole is bigger and broader than just Kadence, which Kadence is awesome and amazing. But we're actually using our Stellar products to niche into the specific verticals that we feel like have a lot of potential, a lot of options. Kadence and SolidWP in particular, they really help give a foundation for any website that you want to build. But then those verticals that we're going to lean into are, of course, the nonprofit sector, where Give is going to excel, and the events calendar as well, actually. We're also going to lean in on the LMS area with LearnDash, of course, and then with events, you can also lean in there, and then also with WooCommerce. So every single site that we sell through StellarSites is immediately a Kadence and SolidWP site, but you also have the ability to go into one of these 4 verticals of a store, an event site, a learning site, a fundraising site as well. So more of a niche WordPress hosting environment rather than a catch-all hosting environment.
I'm wondering how much you can show us behind the scenes with this question, but how much of this was driven, this decision to launch StellarSites, how much of this decision was because folks would get your end product and be like, oh God, I don't know how to use this thing. Like I thought I could just install GiveWP and this is just too cumbersome. And it's not the fault of your own product. It's the fault of just WordPress at large, right? Like take this thing, put it in this thing over here. You probably don't even know what that thing is over there. And now you just have to make it work with all the other stuff you have. How much of that scenario has played into the decision to do this? Or is this just like, hey, new opportunity, let's try to bundle this stuff and package it up in that loosely used word SaaS kind of mentality?
I think it's more the latter rather than the first, honestly. When it comes to the first problem, like in terms of you're going to get one of our products and then you're in a WordPress environment and you might struggle a bit, we really had a couple different things that told us that no matter what we do here, yes, we wanted to feel kind of like more like a competitor to a Wix website or a competitor to a Squarespace website, for sure. But we want to also be super transparent that it's not a cookie cutter situation like Squarespace or Wix. It is still WordPress, and you still do need to have a DIY mentality when you go into a WordPress website. So trying to play a little bit of both there, because it's a little bit disingenuous for any WordPress host to be like, hey, just get in here and then everything will be great and fine and dandy. It's still WordPress and you still got to get hands-on with it. And we're trying to be transparent about that front. But the opportunity is that we do think that the suite of tools that Stellar has been accumulating over the last few years really do amplify each other in really special ways. And that the opportunity really is to combine them and for you and our customers to be able to get kind of the benefits of all of our worlds, not just in the individual paths.
Walk me through the experience if you can. Somebody says, I want a fundraising site. They click a button to purchase this site. Is this ready-made WordPress where just all of your products are pre-installed? How does one say, oh, I have a donation site now, a nonprofit donation site. I feel good. Like I'm ready to go. Like how do you smooth this over? Again, knowing that this is still early days for you, because I totally understand like the ramp up to something like this.
Yeah, totally. So another interesting thing that happened very recently is WordPress.com launched this AI builder, right? And you did a great little segment on it showing the thing. I was probably recording a Loom internally at Stellar at the same time you were recording yours, honestly. And they went to market saying AI builder. We actually also built an AI builder a long time ago. Kadence AI is really powerful and amazing. And we're not going to market with StellarSites as an AI builder. It's not an AI builder. AI is a feature. It's a tool that makes things nicer and easier for folks. And when it comes to like, I want to build a fundraising site, there's a path when you get into StellarSites where you start without even giving us your email or anything with Kadence AI essentially. And it will walk you through building out your fundraising website all the way till you get to actually see it visually. And then it's like, oh, that's exactly what I want. And then you click the buy button, you go through the purchase, and then the site that you built gets propagated and you get to land right into that site right away. So like I said, it's not an AI. We're using AI, of course, and it is an AI builder, but it's just an onboarding experience that's going to optimize the way in which you experience all of our products together. And you're ideally going to get a big head start towards the website that you actually want, not just the idea of a website that you want.
Yeah. I think one of the criticisms I had for the .com AI builder, and it's not just them, I mean, it's literally like every site that one might launch with WordPress is, okay, great, like you helped me get from point A to point, let's say D in this case with the .com AI builder. You've made some pages for me, you've put some temporary content there, there's some like placeholder images, and that was quite enjoyable, right, from that video, and I'll try to link that up in the show notes. But the issue is for the type of, in my opinion anyway, the type of customer that's going to use that now doesn't know like why they have what they have. Like AI, why did you build these pages? And, you know, in your case, you might have on a donation page, on a donation website, of course, like the donation form, but then maybe your system has put in a newsletter page and they're thinking, oh my God, I wasn't even thinking newsletter. Why do I need this? So at what point do you bring in either professional services, if that's even a thing that's going to happen, or how do you smooth over the understanding of like this ready-made site for folks?
Yeah. I mean, in many ways, it still does go back to that WordPress is a DIY solution. I don't mind that a little bit of tension where it's like I built something that gets me 80% of the way there. The next 20% is hard for a lot of folks. But that experience of like, okay, here's a whole bunch of content on the page in a layout that I didn't build. And honestly, when I look at that layout, it's a bit complicated. But if I want to go and actually put in my own images and my own content there, I'm going to actually learn the blocks that create this layout as I'm doing that. I do think that that's the type of customer that we are trying to find, are the ones that want to get hands-on, who want to actually customize it in the way that they feel really good about it and that are happy with the end product. So that is, not the absolute, like I would say, cookie cutter folks who just want like, give me a brochure site that works out of the box and I don't want to mess. Not those folks necessarily, and not necessarily the big, like, I can fine tune everything with HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Just let me have the code and I can do it. It's the folks in between who are happy to do that. So I think that's where we're trying to target for the most part. That doesn't answer your question exactly, but it gets there.
So one of the things that's sort of like in the zeitgeist these days is AI coming for our jobs, air quotes, right? Our jobs, meaning the freelancer who might lose a client due to WordPress.com's AI builder, possibly even your tool. How do you hedge against that? Is this squarely marketed at the end user who wants something easy to use for that solution? Or do you see this as an accessory service? Oh, I call it an accessory service to an agency who's like, I'm going to build you either something custom or we can use this thing over here that's ready-made.
It's a good question. Honestly, I think it's worth talking about a year from now again, honestly, because I'm interested to see who finds the most value here. We definitely have a large group of agency customers in our various brands who I think will find this very interesting. One of the great things that we're offering is, like I said, you are a Solid customer right out of the gate. And one of the things that Solid has is Solid Central. And every single person who becomes a StellarSites customer automatically has Solid Central as well. So you could be spinning up additional StellarSites and manage them all directly through Solid Central. And it's a really powerful tool overall, really perfect for agencies. So there's benefits that go outside of just the website building that I think will be really attractive for agencies with StellarSites in particular. But I think the target that we're looking for is more of like the mom and pop shop owner who wants to make a site that will enable them to be successful in their business. In general, I think that's in many ways what we all want. We want folks to be able to build a website that's going to help them be successful so that they can spend more time in their actual business and that the website just empowers them to do better in what they're doing. I think that's what we all want with WordPress in general. Now, what is and what today in terms of that's not always the case, and that sometimes WordPress itself gets in the way. That does make the question a little bit more challenging. I mean, that, you and I talked about these lots of different times over the years. I think like 10 years ago, we all were like, WordPress can do a lot of things for you, but if you're serious about your website, you're going to need to hire a professional for sure. And that changed a bit. And then Gutenberg came and it kind of changed everything again. It kind of ebbs and flows over time.
Yeah.
I do think AI is an opportunity for more folks to get a powerful website quickly and focus on their business. But again, only to 80%. And that last 20% is hard. So.
You might not have a direct solution for this, but I'll advocate for the consultant who's listening to this or the freelancer or boutique agency as a way to pair folks up, right? There's at the time of this recording, there's a current debate going on about the $5,000 budget, right? And there are those that squarely say like, hey, if you want to make a real go at having a web business, you should never service customers under this threshold. You should only really focus up market because anyone sub 5,000 isn't thinking about their business properly, effectively. I'm kind of paraphrasing the argument, but this is an argument as old as time. Like I started the Matt Report podcast years and years ago, and the biggest question I had was like, what do we do about the $500 website? Right? Which was like, you and I probably chatted about that 18 years ago as one of the biggest challenges. I think, like most things, it depends, but even in the face of AI, I know this is long-winded, but even in the face of AI, Yeah, sure. You can make an AI website, but and you might still pay a consultant $5,000 to figure out what the hell to do with your business. You could hire me and I could build your website for $1, and then for $4,999, you would pay me for my entire experience of how this whole thing works. So this isn't a direct question, but I would advocate on your side to maybe find ways to pair up
Yeah.
recommended freelancers and agencies with these customers that might be looking for help, because ultimately it's like, you made me a nonprofit site and now I need, like, how the hell do I get donations? Like, how do I raise that awareness? Like, what do I do next? And I don't know if that's something that maybe your team is going to service, but if not, maybe pairing that up with a community of agencies.
You're making me think. One thing I love the idea of is an agency that's like, look, I recommend you use StellarSites for your hosting and for your website solution. What you need to do is go through their AI onboarding wizard and purchase your site right away. That will get you 80% of the way there. And then you just pay me to finish it up. Like, that's actually a really cool, unique kind of hybrid solution that it could result in $1,000 website. And those folks who are saying don't pay less than 5,000, they won't like that. But at the same time, it's that last 20%.
Yep.
So
yeah, for sure. Coaching somebody over that finish line would definitely be beneficial. Let's talk about the logistics. It sounds like there's no additional plugin licensing fees. Like, you might go to Stellar and buy these individual plugins, sign up and get these individual licenses. This is going to be all baked in one monthly price. How does that all work out?
Yeah, that's one thing. Like, from the nerdy tech side, I'm actually really excited about the way that we navigated this. A lot of the work that we've been doing to make this possible is on the licensing side in particular. And it's all baked in basically. So once you go through and you purchase your site, whether it has either just 2 of our brands or 3 of our brands or 4, and you can add add-ons later, you get issued a StellarSites license key, and that is valid and good for any of the products that you have purchased along the way. We are having monthly options to renew monthly, and we do, of course, also have annual plans as well that come at a small discount. So that's the great part about it. And we made it so that if a license is issued through StellarSites, then the Give team, for example, they will see that license in their system. Even though there's no revenue on their side, they still know that there's a customer there and they can support that person just like normal. So that's all worked out really well under the hood, and it's a really slick system. Also, honestly, a lot of that infrastructure is just through our licensing, Stellar licensing in particular, but also Solid Central is becoming more and more important in the way that we kind of use that to be a cohesive way to manage a lot of what's going on at Stellar.
I'll put you in the hot seat for a second. Can somebody move away from StellarSites and migrate?
It's WordPress. Absolutely. It's open source. You can, build whatever you want, export it out, go somewhere else, for sure. Now, there are, per domain license restrictions, just like any plugin. But if you come to us and you're like, hey, I moved my site somewhere else and it's a different domain now, then we can help turn one domain off and let you do it on the other one, no problem. So,
is this a new hosting infrastructure specifically for Stellar, or is this backed by the parent company and the resources already over there? In other words, are you building something brand new in the background to power all this stuff?
There are some things about it that are new. If anyone's familiar with LearnDash Cloud, we definitely are leaning on that experience already. That's the other thing, is like, we're not new to this. We've been doing this with LearnDash Cloud already for about 1.5 years. We took a lot that we learned from that experience and just amplified it and did more. It's definitely what a lot of folks probably understand is the Nexcess infrastructure, and that's what's going on under the hood. But we have kind of beefed it up a bit specifically for StellarSites purposes. There's some really great auto scaling that happens on the PHP worker side that we're really excited about. There's a really great visual compare tool for auto updates of plugins and themes that will roll back updates if it visually breaks any of your pages. There's a lot of that type of infrastructure that makes this a really powerful and interesting hosting stack, no matter what. we're trying not to lead the messaging and marketing with like, here's your PHP workers and here's your MySQL version and here's all of those things, because that's not the primary, but all that detail will be there as well.
Which leads me to the last question about the product. Pricing. Have we announced that yet? Have we said where it's starting at and what the plans are?
Yeah, I could say the basic one is at $19 a month, and it does go up from there in terms of which plan you're going to work on. And we actually feel like altogether, considering the plugins that you're getting and the stack that you're getting as well, that it's actually probably too cheap, honestly.
So let me just ask, that 19, would that include the suite of plugins?
Absolutely. That's
Wow.
what I'm saying. At the bare minimum, with Kadence and Solid built in, $19 a month. Yep.
Well, if you need me to append the show notes with a different price later on, Matt, you just let me know.
Asterisk.
It sounds like a pretty sweet deal. Let's transition to just talking about one other important part of WordPress these days. I just wrapped up a quick 3-minute and 30-second recap on WordPress 6.8, which launched, I don't know, a couple of days ago, a day ago. And it was quick because there's not much there. And as we all know, WordPress 6.8 is the last major release, so we're told, for the rest of 2025. And we'll have a sprinkle or smattering, whatever word you want to use, of minor updates throughout the rest of the year. What are your thoughts on this being the final major release of 2025? And what does your outlook hold for the improvements of WordPress moving forward?
Yeah, it's a really good question overall, one that we can debate from several different angles. I'll say the angle that I feel like I can control. There's the whole conversation of like, why in the world is it the one release, and is that good for WordPress and things like that? I don't have a lot of control over that part. But I think what we do in terms of folks who commit to help in the WordPress community, I actually feel like I'm ready for slow releases right now. I feel like there's a lot to be said about this release not being full of a bunch of drastic change, but instead a lot of net sum improvements. I really like seeing all the performance improvements that were baked into it. I really like seeing the accessibility focus that was put into it. I think there's a big case for the next small releases and even the next couple large releases basically being very similar to this one. A lot more of taking what is there and just making it even more stable, more of a UI improvement, more beneficial as a platform, rather than trying to reach at like if we did a 6.9 and it was like WordPress is now this giant AI builder thing, I'd be like, oh geez, I'm tired. Like I like the incremental approach, and I think that will be just fine from a platform and a software project perspective.
Matt Cromwell, all jest aside, it's always great to have conversations with you and catch up and think about the future of WordPress. Where can folks go to find out more about StellarSites?
StellarSites. Go to StellarWP.com. It's big right there on the homepage, and we'll be selling it there. So
fantastic stuff. I'll be looking forward to seeing you at PressConf in just about a week from now. I played disc golf last year. Did I tell you that?
No.
It was insanely challenging.
Yeah, it's not what people think it is.
No. I played with my friend who lives just about an hour north of Orlando, Florida. And it was hot. It was hot. I play golf, regular golf, and it often gets hot and there's no shade, but it's like a searing heat versus when I was playing disc golf, we were like in the woods and it's sort of like a jungle in Florida. Yeah. So it's just like an intense steam heat and bugs and branches. I'm like, what? Wait a minute. Where's the enjoyment in this? And maybe it was just that course that I played, but I was like, wow, how does Cromwell do this?
Yeah, Florida is not my favorite place, honestly. So I can sympathize with that. I played last year at WordCamp US in Portland. They have a gorgeous course out in the woods. It was a beautiful weather. It was cool and shady and wonderful. It was amazing. Tempe is supposed to be about in the mid 80s, I think, which is not awesome, but it's also not terrible. Right. Super dry. So, and there is a really amazing course there called Shelley Sharp Memorial. I'm really looking forward to playing there.
Cool. Fantastic stuff. Matt, thanks for hanging out today, and I look forward to seeing you next week.
Same to you, Matt. Thanks.
Thanks for listening to the WP Minute. This episode is brought to you by our amazing pillar sponsors, Pressable, OmniSend, Bluehost, and Kinsta. Without their support and the support from our WP Minute Slack members, this content wouldn't be possible. Thanks to our Foundation Plus sponsors, Hostinger, Big Scoots, Themile, Optimal, PatchStack, Weglot, Personalized WP, Deploy HQ, and WP World. Their recognition to help support independent WordPress media keeps the lights on. Want to support the WP Minute through sponsorship or joining our members-only Slack? Visit WPMinute.com/support.